Welcome back. It's time for the day's business news. I'm joined by Stephen. Hello again, Stephen. We're going to start off with the news of the sale of the blogging site Tumblr.
Yeah, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that internet giant Yahoo is prepared to pay $1.1 billion for Tumblr. Tumblr, a blogging site mostly used for sharing photos and videos. It has 108 million blogs, 50 million blog posts contained in it. If this deal goes through as reported, it will be a huge coup for Yahoo CEO Marissa Mayer, but also some challenges ahead. Oliver Farry has the details.
Yahoo spends big in an effort to make up ground in social networking. The struggling tech giant announced Sunday it was paying $1.1 billion for the popular blogging platform Tumblr. It is part of recently appointed Yahoo CEO Marissa Mayer's plans to revamp the company. Founded 6 years ago, Tumblr offers a blend of blogging and social networking. It has established a niche for itself with a young user base largely slanted towards image and video rather than text. The New York-based company hosts a total of 108 million blogs. The deal is the second largest internet buyout of recent years after Google's takeover of YouTube in 2006 and just ahead of Facebook's acquisition of Instagram last year. Yahoo has been eyeing up other potential acquisitions over recent months, but Tumblr is its biggest investment to date. An early web pioneer, Yahoo has lost much of its momentum over the past decade. It will also be hoping its Tumblr deal fares better than its buyout of Flickr in 2005. The then thriving photo website has since been outstripped by Facebook and Instagram.
Now, Stephen, in recent weeks, we've talked quite a bit about how much tax big multinationals have to pay, like Google and Amazon. And it looks like a big British brand is under fire for the same reason.
Yeah, that's right. Marks and Spencer is one of Britain's biggest retailers. Now the latest name to be embroiled in this controversy over who pays how much corporate tax and where they pay it. The Guardian newspaper is reporting that Marks and Spencer's is filtering its sales from its EU site, so outside of the UK, through its Irish operation, because Irish corporation tax is much lower than what they would pay in the UK. Needless to say, tax campaigners not too pleased about that. They'd been focusing on the likes of Google and Amazon recently. The Google CEO was actually writing in the British newspaper The Observer this weekend. He was defending Google's tax record, saying that the company is trying to do the right thing always when the way that it pays tax. It points out that as a US company, it pays the majority of its tax in the US. But also it was said that the rules that it uses to shuttle its tax affairs between different European countries comes from the treaties agreed by different governments. As I say, they are playing by the rules and trying to do the right thing.
All right, how are the markets looking this Monday morning?
It's been a good start to the week in Asia, mostly carrying over gains from Wall Street we saw last week. Shares in Hong Kong reached their highest level since February after some good news from the Chinese economy. Year-on-year house prices in China rose at their fastest pace in April for 2 years. So perhaps another sign there of an improving Chinese recovery.
Now, this isn't going to help the Franco-German relationship. The head of the central bank in Germany has been quite critical of France's economy.
Yeah, the president of the Bundesbank has said that France has a special responsibility to keep to the EU rules on budget deficits, the so-called golden rule of 3%. Now, Jens Wiedmann has said that while there's some flexibility in the process for this golden rule, that the likes of France, a Eurozone heavyweight, he describes the country as, needs to work hard to meet those targets. Last week, of course, the European Commission gave France 2 extra years to meet that 3% target because they were having difficulty bringing down spending and matching up tax to go with it.
Now, in Greece, there's a sign that the situation for its troubled banking sector may be improving.
Yeah, that's right. Greece's Bank Rescue Fund said that it's going to try to sell off 2 of the smallest nationalised lenders by mid-July. Hellenic Post Bank and Proton were split into good and bad banks at the height of the crisis when they were taken over by the fund. The bailout-backed fund is now hoping to sell off the good parts by the middle of July to earn some of that money back. This comes as the process of recapitalising the rest of Greece's banks is hopefully going to come to an end by June, perhaps returning them to some sort of normality.
All right, now as Greece struggles with the austerity measures imposed by its international lenders, young people are finding it increasingly difficult to start their careers and move out of home. In February, youth unemployment stood at a record 64.2%. That's led to some families resorting to a creative way to save money.
There's nothing like mum's cooking. And here in Greece, where family is the bedrock of society, a new delivery service is providing sustenance to young people who have flown the nest. Matula cooks her son's favourite meals, packs them up in Tupperware boxes and has them delivered to his home.
As you can imagine, Mum's cooking arriving at the child's place is far more healthy and economical than sending money.
With jobs so scarce, many young people look for work abroad or live with their parents until well into their 20s. But for young people determined to live independently, the Vernakius company makes it that little bit easier.
Unfortunately, sending money is very difficult due to the economic crisis and the current situation. A mother can cut costs by preparing food she cooks every day at home, placing it in food containers and sending it with our service. The child is fed healthily and economically. You kill two birds with one stone.
Vernakius may only be a short-term solution to Greece's far broader problems, but even in the midst of the financial crisis, it's helping protect against disintegrating family ties and empty stomachs.
Quick look now at some of the day's other business stories, and the CEO of fashion retailer H&M has said he's looking at sourcing their clothes from African and Latin American suppliers after the Bangladesh factory collapse. Carl-Johan Persson told the Financial Times the company was seeking sustainability of its production lines. He said H&M was particularly looking at countries like Mexico and Brazil for suppliers.
Germany's Vice-Chancellor has warned that a proposed EU duty on Chinese solar panels would be a grave mistake. The European Commission is expected to formally announce heavy import duties on the panels in the coming weeks. But Philip Rossler is calling for talks with China on the issue.
And Toyota is planning a huge increase in the number of lithium-ion batteries it makes. The Japanese car maker is planning to use the cells in its Prius range of hybrid cars. Lithium-ion batteries are lighter than the model Toyota currently uses. The deal will see Panasonic supplying its partner Toyota with 200,000 units a year.
Now, Stephen, today is a public holiday for many people here in France, but for those of us working, the proceeds go to the government.
Yeah, that's right. Pentecost Monday, traditionally a public holiday in France, but back in 2004, the government transformed it into what they called a day of solidarity. This was after a huge heat wave in the year before that had led to some 15,000 older people dying. So the idea was that the proceeds of this day would then go towards elderly care provided by the French state. Now, that was changed in 2008. It went back to being a public holiday. But the tradition remains. Workers can now either choose to work on the day or to give up a day's holiday, and that money will go back to the state. It's a scheme that's earned the French government quite a lot of money, actually. 2.39 billion euros in 2012 was collected from this scheme, 18 billion since it began in 2004. Badly needed money by the French government, really, particularly directed towards elderly care.
I have to say, it makes me feel a little bit better about having to get up at 3 o'clock this morning. All right, thank you very much, Stephen, for taking us through the business news. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the latest headlines. They're coming right up.